Well, hey Gundam Maniacs, welcome to another episode of Gundam Explained. In this episode, we're going to be doing a review of a Gundam collectible, and this is something that I really like a whole lot of, and I've been collecting a bunch of them, and that's the GMG Gundam Military Generation action figures. These are the 3.75 inch, nearly 4 inch figures, kind of in line with like the Star Wars Vintage Collection Joy Toy stuff, you know, like the Warhammer 40,000. And I've done some reviews in the past of some of the figures they've released, but recently they released one with Sayla, which is pretty awesome, and some pilots, and a core fighter cockpit. All right, and to get started, just to kind of get a quick look at the box, you know, they come in kind of these standard boxes. And the 3-pack, it's just a box with these 3 boxes. The thing is, when you order the 3-pack, it seems that they actually come with extra things. You can buy them individually, but I guess they just package them differently. It's kind of a weird setup here, but yeah, here's a look at the Sayla one, some cool artwork on the front. Looking on the back, you can kind of get some ideas of how to use the accessories. Some accessories it comes with, even parts of the core fighter, because again, each part of the core fighter comes with each figure. And then, yeah, just showing examples of how you can set it up. There's number 4 and 5. That's part of this set, and we'll look at them too. All right, let's take a look at Sayla here. You know what? For the size of this action figure, I think this is great. You know, I've reviewed these figures before, and they're what I say is, it's hard to determine if it's really worth it. I would say by the end of this video, you could determine if, as a collector and a fan of Gundam, if it's worth it for you. So, you know, for instance, we could see that they have these metal pins in for the joints, but the articulation is everything that you would expect. Although sometimes it's a little too much where you can easily, now that wasn't too easy, I guess sometimes depending on how you have the joint in there, the joints will come off pretty easily, but it's not too bad. And sometimes that's a good thing because some accessories require you to take off certain joints. But yeah, just taking a look at her head sculpt here in the paint, I think that looks great for the size. I think it's amazing to get a fully articulated Sayla pilot action figure at this scale. I guess that's part of me as a collector of this scale of figures anyway, that kind of is in the pro category. Now the other figures it comes with is just 2 other pilots. We have kind of this standard normal male size pilot, and then we have a little bigger male size pilot, which is pretty cool because across these lines of figures you can alternate heads from different types of figures. It's really cool how many different faces there are between the Zeon soldiers, Earth Federation soldiers, and then the Zeon and Earth Federation pilots. And then, yeah, let's look at some of the accessories that this comes with. I mean, that's what kind of leads us over the top in terms of buying an action figure at this price. Because again, price is part of it. And, you know, one thing is there's these different sized harnesses that are actually what plug in to the cockpit chair here for the core fighter. And I'll get to that in a second of what I like and dislike about it. Sayla, her stuff's a little different. You know, she comes with different colored gloves than the standard here. So we can see where she has the brown gloves. One comes, you know, as a trigger finger, and then actually with a gun too. So each figure comes with a gun in this set. The reason I use this packaging is because it's easier to put the figures in here, their accessories, not have to lose them. I can kind of put the cardboard boxes away. This kind of like slims down my storage. But with the other pilots, you know, they come with a bunch of white gloves or hands, and they're all the same types of hands. They also come with harnesses to put on them so that you can actually put a jetpack on the back if you want. This is something we saw with even the Zeon pilots and soldiers and Earth Federation soldiers. They also come with alternate helmet face plates. That way you can remove the green glass in the front and have it without. I think that's a neat little option that almost seemed like unnecessary, but it's cool that it's there. You know, another thing are these little white pouches. And actually Sayla has some brown patches of her own. They go, you can kind of see on the side here where the holes are, you can kind of plug them in there. And I've got this guy with the gun one on the side. You could then, yeah, take one of these, plug it in. You know, historically, like on the older figures, they would come off quite a bit. You got to be careful. And that has to do with the quality control, and I'm going to get to that here in a second. But yeah, as you can see here, it kind of looks cool having those additional pouches on, just adds to the figure. You know, this brings me back to part of why I like figures like this is because the old school G.I. Joe figures from the 80s and into the 90s, how they had so many accessories you can add on to them. I really feel like this is like the next step of that G.I. Joe design. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do love the Star Wars Vintage Collection, those scaled figures. It's just for some reason, the new ones that they come out with look pretty good, but they tend to pick and choose the type of articulation are on some figures, so they're not all consistent. That's what's weird about the newer Star Wars figures, whereas with this GMG line, they are very consistent in the body types in terms of the articulation. Sayla also comes with that briefcase of gold, which, you know, it's straight up from the anime, but there's also different scenes throughout, like, I guess the main trilogy of OG Zeta and Double Zeta where Briefcase of Gold was used. So yeah, you can reenact that with these little figures. There's a Char Aznable figure. I have that one as well. So yeah, that works with that. And to show off some options with Sayla, like here's her head. Again, looks really good. Great sculpt and paint. You can pop it off without popping off that bottom neck piece. Not that it's a big deal, but sometimes that will go with it. And then here's her helmet. And so again, there's multiple ways you can use this. So let me take this apart. So there's also this version of her head that actually plugs into here. Really, there's no reason to take that out unless you wanted to have her hold her helmet without her head in it. That would be kind of creepy if you think about it. But yeah, then you have the options. You can add the helmet with the green glass on it, or you can add the front helmet visor part without that green glass visor going on. I mean, it all looks good, really. And then just pop that on, and I think that works. I'm glad that that's an option. It looks really cool. You know, and the same thing goes with the regular Earth Federation pilots. You can actually, it looks like I was taking off his whole head. Yeah, and you can see underneath there's actually the plug. So that comes in and out. I guess that allows for if you wanted to switch heads from like a face that came with a Xeon soldier or Xeon pilot. So I mean, I think that's a really cool option they added there. But yeah, I can just pop on his head right there. So then you got this guy with that head, or with this one. Looks really cool too. So I mean, really, that's another awesome thing about these is switching out the heads from all the different figures that they have available. All right, so the main piece, the thing that makes this 3-pack worth it to me is this Core Fighter cockpit. Now it comes in multiple pieces because each figure's box has a different piece of the cockpit. And I gotta say, overall, this is just really cool. You know, there's paint where paint should be. There's some areas that are lacking in paint. I almost feel like you can also give this thing a slight wash on it and maybe do some detailing if you wanted to go that much further when it comes to gunpla detailing. Yeah, you could take off the seat here because that's part of building it up, and it has the 3 different areas that you can connect it depending on, I guess, the height of the character and where you want to put their feet on the pedals. And these, the 2 like throttle controller things in the middle joystick can come off. Yeah, another area is this little viewfinder targeting thingy. You pretty much just take it off, and then you plug in this alternate piece. Let me see if I can do this correctly. That goes there. That goes there, probably the other way around, yeah. And then plug that there. And there you go, so you can kind of have that option if you want. And getting a pilot in the seat. So let me show that, because that's the thing that's kind of annoying with this. So yeah, we get a pilot in there. I actually don't necessarily, okay, the chair came off, which is part of what I wanted to show off here. It does come apart easily. So first of all, you got to get the pilot in, okay? And then you can, you know, fix the feet to make sure it's really lined up down there. And then yeah, have his hand on the joystick however you want. You know, that's another cool thing with these figures is they come with multiple types of hands that have either the vertical or horizontal kind of movement within their wrist. That's for like how you want them to hold a gun, or use the gun with another hand that's like holding it at an angle, but also the joystick. That kind of gives you options there. But the other part of this that's really annoying is putting this on. So we can kind of see kind of in the back here, down by his waist and up over his shoulder, there's these little parts that you can plug this in. And you know what? I feel like I would go into a rage if I tried to do this while filming a video. Because I really have to like get it up close to my face and look, and then throw it across the room in anger, then come back to it 20 minutes later after some deep meditation. But and then the chair comes off anyway. But yeah, this part is where I would almost just like kind of set it and forget it and not have to worry about it again. It's easy when you get it in that way without the figure. The thing is then trying to get the figure in also, because you can see as I'm moving this, my hand is really moving around here, and the figure being in the way makes it really hard to get it in. So yeah, you could do it this way easily without the figure. But once you have the figure in place, because it's adding the bulk here, as I plug in one on this side will pop out, because these come off easily. And it just makes it a pain. So it's one of those things where this is awesome. Once you spend however much time it takes to set it up and get it there, then it's good to go. But sometimes it's pretty annoying to set it up. And that's going to lead overall to the quality control of these figures. So these figures are notorious for having quality control issues, meaning sometimes you get parts that are just not working right or broken. I've had one where the ankle peg had already broken off. One thing that's very common, and I'm trying to find one that I already broke here. It's actually kind of hard to look through there to find it. Maybe this one. Let's see if you can tell. There's that little, and that actually might not be it exactly, but you can kind of see where it almost looks like it's broken. Yeah, there we go. You see that? Luckily I was able to put it back, but just by pulling this out, even though I thought I had a good grip on the pins, pulling it out of the arm socket broke the hand right there. I've had that happen with a couple others, and sometimes the pin just comes out and then you just have to put it back in. So it seems like it's an easy fix, especially if you're just gonna have it sitting there and you're not gonna really touch it too much. But that is one thing about this that it's just like, if we didn't have to worry about those kind of issues, these would be nearly perfect. That aspect though of the figure is what makes this challenging to figure out if you really want it or not. All right, and some final thoughts for the figures. This is one of those things that if you really like Gundam and you like the Gundam collectibles and you also happen to like figures at that scale, I think this is a no-brainer. For me, no-brainer. I don't care about the quality control issues because it's just awesome having action figures at this scale that are part of the Gundam universe. There's even a Rambaral I have that I'm going to do a review for shortly. There's even an Amuro that's coming out pretty soon. So I like that they're filling out the line. Like, these figures are awesome. I've even been army building the soldiers and the pilots. So that's another cool aspect. Because when it comes to price, it can get up there. These 3-packs can be nearly 200, just below 200. If you buy them separately, it can be a lot cheaper. The thing is, when you buy them in their bundles, they come with extra things. So you want to pick and choose if you really need the extra thing or not. Sometimes that extra thing is what kind of makes me make that decision that, yes, I need to get the 3-pack. But you got to watch out for prices. And what's really cool is lately I've noticed that the prices, depending on where you shop, go down a little bit. Honestly, with this Sayla 3-pack, I had it reserved, pre-ordered for $180 on USA Gundam Store. This was back in January of 2022. Oh my gosh, 2023. And I was waiting forever to get it, and then I saw it on Amazon with next day shipping, or free shipping next day for $100, the 3-pack. And I'm like, this can't be real, can it? So then I ordered it, and then the next day it got delayed. And I'm like, it's one of those tricks. Next day got delayed, and I'm like, and then it actually came, and I'm like, wait a minute. I saved $80 just buying it on Amazon and not getting it through my pre-order. So I find that fascinating. So it's one of those things where if you want to figure out if this is the right collectible for you, go on Amazon or another store and see some of them that have maybe a reduced price to kind of see if that's something you want to get into. Because for now, I'm pre-ordering them as they come out and will pay full price gladly. It's just if I happen to come across them cheaper somewhere else, I will then get it for that cheaper price. So anyway, if you like this kind of content, please subscribe. And if you like Gundam lore in general, check out my other videos. Also, give this video a like, or any of the other videos a like that I do if you really want to help this channel grow. And check out the links I have below for ways you can support the channel or even join some of the members benefits, like our movie nights, and we do this exclusive G-Watch podcast which supporters can be included on. So anyway guys, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think below about these figures and if you've collected them as well. But yeah, we'll talk later.